everybody. This is Jim.
And this is Mike.
Mike is back.
Yes,
with
yes.
me. And we are on show number 36. You're listening to No Good Music. Yeah. And today we're talking about quirky, odd bands that make you laugh.
Right, making you think and laugh at the same time.
Yeah. Unlike, like your basic love song or, once in a while you gotta, a song that you, it's self-explanatory.
Well, some bands are really serious, and they're not funny.
Yeah, they take themselves seriously.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of them out there just take themselves too seriously.
Yeah. I mean, you have bands that have fun on stage.
Yeah.
But then you have bands that,
I think it makes for a good experience. You're enjoying the music and you're also intrigued and humored by it. So it's you benefit even more by
and we're going to talk about bands that we've liked for, a long time.
Jim.
Yes.
Before we start out with this,
I'm still here.
I just have we're also trying odd and quirky beers. This one here, it happens to be the fried ice cream stout.
Yes.
And it's actually good. I like it a lot better than the wombat juice.
And Mike reminded me, I literally had a banana today to eat.
Jim is doing more than the wine tasting style.
But I'm going to finish this one.
No, come on, put that down. What are you talking about?
Okay.
It's the beer talking. I'm going to hide this. Okay. So I've been wanting to do this podcast for a long time, Jim, because there's certain bands that make us think, but also make us laugh. People that are trying to say something that it's so hilarious that they're making us cry with laughter. So it's not these other great bands, other great bands saying great things seriously. So before I start, I got a question for you, Jim. Though, so name of the podcast is No Good Music.
Yes.
Right. So if we could put the emblem of No Good Music on a vehicle, okay, would it look better on a black Mini Cooper or, say, a white box truck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just thinking this over, advertising, because we are, we're getting bigger. People are writing us.
Hold on. I got to put my hat on.
Yes.
So I don't get chafed.
Chafing is not good. Yes.
Now that's a word. That's a word like the word moist that people don't like. Chafe.
I like moist. You know why I like moist? Moist.
I like my cake moist.
I know. Yeah, I love cake. You know that. So cornbread has to be moist.
Yeah.
I mean, what is cornbread if it's not moist?
Yeah.
I mean, moist is good. But you're talking about chafing and chaffing. But what about chaps and chafing?
Yeah. I don't like when my dog is moist.
Well, it depends what you do with your dog.
No, after he drinks water, and he's dripping. Yeah.
Well, that's dripping wet. That's dripping wet.
Give him a kiss.
I don't kiss pigs or dogs. So our listeners are writing in. What do you got there for us, Joe?
Yeah, we've been getting emails.
It's a good thing.
This is from Gertrude Hascombe.
Yeah, Ms. Hascombe.
She works in an adoption agency for guinea pigs.
Oh, that's so good.
And she's from Fry's, Virginia.
Yes.
Where they make fries. I don't know if anyone knows that.
It might be pronounced freeze, but...
Fry's originated.
No, it's Fries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be pronounced freeze.
Okay.
But go ahead.
She says she's been listening to our podcast since 1964. I don't think we've been doing it that long, Gertrude. I don't know what you're listening to.
She must have meant 14, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
She must have us mixed up with Soupy Sales or someone.
Soupy Sales.
She says, I don't know how you do it, but you keep coming up with great music topics.
That's great.
Keep up the great work. So that's a nice one. That's a very nice one.
Yeah. Gertrude, thank you so much. Yeah. If you're listening, shout out to Fry's, Virginia.
And then we have Howard Simpson. He's a cat manicurist from Why Not, North Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah. Howard says your podcast is what gets me through the day at work between manicures and toe bean massages. And toe beans it's a slang for cat feet.
Yeah.
Toe beans. Yeah. Don't ever stop what you're doing. Don't ever stop doing what you're doing. Nice. Thank you, Howard. Very. So if anyone wants to email us for a shout out, it's KNOW, good music podcast@gmail.com. So there you go.
We couldn't have this podcast without talking about the Talking Heads.
Yes.
The T-Heads. Yeah, I don't know if I made that up or not, but the T-Heads. So let's just look at, almost everybody knows that David Byrne, artistic extraordinaire, is the leader, primary songwriter and singer for the Talking Heads. But it was back at the Rhode Island School of Design that David Byrne, Chris France, and Tina Weymouth all met. So David, I have to say David, it's just not right to say Dave.
And we all know there are no other bands that have ever come out of Rhode Island. Yeah. Again, email us if you're from Rhode Island.
Yeah, and you have a band.
Yeah, because I don't know.
And you came out.
I never heard we're from Rhode Island.
So David and Chris have this band called The Artistics. Okay, it's kind of like art rock. David Byrne was probably like, what am I going to name my band?
Yeah.
I'm artistic. And Jim's finishing his beer. You're not open another one till we get to the last one.
Okay.
We get to the end. So, fellow student Tina Weymouth was France's girlfriend, and she's driving around. So these two guys are bums. They don't got guitar. They have guitars and amps and keyboards, but they don't have cars. So she's always there, So they played their first gig opening up for the Ramones.
Wow.
I mean, you can't make that up.
Yeah.
So they're at CBGB's. Everybody knows about CBGB's. In fact, Wikipedia says CBGB. Yeah, I thought it was CBGB's. I thought it was apostrophe S. So anyway, they open up for them, and their name, during this time, right before they played there, they got their name from a term that's used in music and TV studios to describe a head and shoulder shot. And it means, quote, all content, no action. In other words, they're
talking head.
Just like you and I are looking at each other. We're just talking heads. We're not dancing around, and that seemed to fit. I think that David probably led everything here, but David said, "That's it. I'm not going to be showing. It's not about the costumes. It's just I'm a talking head."
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Yeah. They added Jerry Harrison later then. He was from Jonathan Richman's band called Modern Lovers, and he was on keyboards, guitars, backing vocals and stuff. So they added Jerry Harrison later. And I might get into it a little bit, but there's a little bit of, him coming last, being the last one in, little conflict there. 77's a big year for them. They started in 75. But in 77 was the first studio album called Talking Heads 77.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody remembers the cover or not.
Very bland.
Plain.
Yeah, just
off fuchsia red. It was just off red. It's just red.
Yeah, no pictures.
Just red.
Word.
And it says Talking Heads 77. You can't get more generic than that. That was the year. So Psycho Killer was on that. And many connected the song to the serial killer known as Son of Sam, who was terrorizing New York City. Yep. And Burns says, no, that was not about that.
It was in Berkowitz. That was
Berkowitz. Yeah. Another big thing in 77 is Tina and Chris got married.
Yes.
Okay. So now in 77, they're married, and they're all friends with all three are friends. David, including David, and then Jerry has joined the band. So. Around that time, British producer Brian Eno. Now, we've heard of Brian Eno. If you're into music, his name just keeps coming up. I first heard of Brian Eno in 80-something, late 80s, because David Lanois and Brian Eno produced U2 albums.
Yeah.
So we heard about him then, and you heard about them.
And his solo stuff is just, it's hard to describe.
Yeah, in fact, I have here in my hand, it's very not often listened to. It's My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. It's Brian Eno and David Byrne together. back when I bought this 2 decades ago, there's a picture of him. I wish listeners could see that. And
you're that old? 2 decades ago?
I didn't listen to much, and I need to get back into it. I need to get back into that. So Eno produced.
They look very young there.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Brian Eno. That's 35. 30.
Brian Eno has to be bald by now.
That's 35, 40 years ago, right there.
His hairline was receding back then.
Yeah. I believe he would be bald by now. So he produced the first couple albums there. Their third album was more songs about buildings and food. It's one of their least known albums, but from that came their first Billboard Top 30 hit.
No, wait a minute. Building for food?
More songs about buildings and food.
Oh.
Yeah. See, it's very, very little known, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there wasn't a whole lot on that album, not one of my favorite albums of the T-Heads, but it was Al Green's Take Me to the River. And it's such a soulful, such a good version of that song, Take Me to the River. And I remember that when I first heard it, I was very pleased with that. Now, as you know, Jim, Tina and Chris also had commercial success with another group at the same time, and that's the Tom Tom Club.
Oh, yeah.
And Genius of Love, I've heard it sampled on some hip-hop or something, probably 5-6 years ago. And Genius of Love, and then there was another song, too, off that album.
Very electronic.
I had it, yeah.
Now, let's talk about us seeing them, the Tom Tom Club.
Okay.
In New York.
Okay.
At a place called The World. Mike does not remember.
No, I don't remember.
It was in New York, but not in New York City. I don't know how we found the place.
Okay.
We kept walking through some undesirable neighborhoods to get to this place. It was a 2-story building called The World, and it was on the 2nd floor.
Wow.
Which was a wooden floor. This is what's, I'm sure our listeners know, this is what, when you have I've known Mike since we were 10. Okay, so we have a lot of history.
Yeah, and we met each other in kindergarten. Yeah, first grade. But
I will remember things that Mike won't, and Mike will remember probably more things than I don't remember, right? It was a wooden floor on the 2nd floor, and everybody was just jumping, dancing, and the floor was moving. The floor was moving, and I feared for my life that this floor was going to collapse.
Wow.
And I remember it was a week or 2 later, not to put down the Tom Tom Club, but I had wished we had gone to this other concert, which was...
Lone Justice.
No, it was...
I'm kidding.
It was a David Bowie... It wasn't David... It was David Bowie, but it was Tin Machine.
Yes.
And to see David Bowie with Tin Machine would have been probably as good, maybe better. I don't know. But anyway, we saw the Tom Tom Club. Mike does not, I don't know why. He does not remember. I had a T-shirt even I bought from there. I had the vinyl.
Yeah. A Tom Tom Club. I had the vinyl with Genius of Love. Don't know the album title. Probably self-titled.
Yeah.
I have absolutely zero memory, and of course, I think that you went there with somebody else.
No, I was there with you.
Yeah. I don't remember any 2nd floor, no creaking. The only floor that was moving was at one of my brother's parties, where we broke one of the floor joists, and it was 20 drunken people in the basement trying to hold up the floor so it didn't break.
Wow!
But I don't remember anything about a club.
Yeah, it was you and I.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did we get there? We in your Fiero or something?
We drove there and parked, but then I remember us walking blocks and blocks.
Wow. And I blocked it out of my mind because it was scary. Like I was afraid, right, for my life.
Yeah, it was, say, undesirable. Graffiti.
Yeah, big city.
There's probably drug deals going on in the corners, but and this was, kids out there. This was before you can go on your phone and look up an address. I think we actually stopped and had to ask someone where is this club?
Right. Asking for directions was a real thing back then. You had an address, maybe, or a name. Yeah. Like if you had the ABC Club in this town, you had to just go into this town. They're looking at a road atlas on paper. And
if anyone out there, like, is, older listeners that remember the world, I mean, I don't know how long it was there.
What town was this in? Any idea?
This is in New York City.
Oh, okay.
It was not, but it wasn't in the city. It was on the outs. Like,
So it's North Jersey then?
No, it was New York, but it was an offshoot of New York City. I just remember walking for like 10 blocks.
So you mean it wasn't in Manhattan, or it wasn't?
Yeah, it wasn't in the
Manhattan.
Yeah, in the center city.
Okay,
there.
Manhattan.
Yeah,
so it could have been
Times Square.
It could have been in the Bronx or Brooklyn or something.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One of the other.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, Jim, it sounds like a great dream to have, and
I did not dream that. We were there.
But if anybody was there, you're asking for them to write us or something, because I want some verification.
Oh, yeah, see if you can give us any info on the
Tom Club, the World, New York City.
Yeah.
And this is approximate 86.
Yeah, 86, 87.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating, Jim. That's just fascinating. Let me go on.
Mike's like, yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay. So, David Byrne, artist extraordinaire, possibly on the edge of insanity. I don't know. Musical insanity. He writes, I try to write about small things. Paper. Animals. A house.
Paper.
Love is kind of big. I've written a love song, though. In the film, I sing it to a lamp. Okay, and that's end quote. That's David Byrne from Stop Making Sense. You can see in terms, in phrases such as the album title, Stop Making Sense. Most people would be asking for people to make sense, but David Byrne says, stop making sense.
There's no reason.
Yeah.
Do you think he was on anything?
I think it's just insanity. I don't know.
Was he drinking trial from
Wombat juice?
No,
Wombat juice, y'all.
I just saw an article on. Actually, it was from Todd Rundgren. He's going into the weed business, right?
Really?
And he's doing appearances, I guess, where he's selling this. But he says he's been his most creative on different substances. So you sometimes wonder.
Yeah.
I
want to go back to some of the early times and exposure of the Talking Heads. Okay, so picture New York City. Picture 1975. After the first time that they opened as a band, opened for the Ramones, which would have been really bizarre. A month later, Lou Reed is there at CBGB's. And he saw the Talking Heads, and he invites him up to his apartment. He begins to critique the group's act.
Wow.
Telling him to slow down on the song Tentative Decisions, which originally was fast-paced. He also told David Byrne, quote, never wear sleeves on stage again. No, wait. Never wear short sleeves on stage again.
Really?
Yeah, because his arms are too hairy and it turns people off.
So then David Byrne went the total opposite.
I don't know. I don't.
With the big suit.
Well, yeah. But he covered his arms.
Yeah.
He said, don't wear short sleeves. Don't expose
your arms. Your
arms are too hairy, yeah. And I thought that was
That reminds me.
Yes.
I just saw a picture of Marshall Crenshaw.
What is that? Oh, no.
And B.B. Buell. Now, B.B. Buell is Liv Tyler's mother.
Okay.
She dated Steven Tyler.
Oh, yes. B.B. Buell.
Todd,
yes.
And we're going to talk about Todd Rundgren.
Yeah.
But there's a picture of him. It's kind of disturbing. He's like in a seductive pose with BB. Kind of, I don't know, she's behind him and has her arm. But I didn't realize how hairy his arms are.
Wow.
So there's a good segue. Let's talk about hairy arms.
No. So let's talk about albums. So there are, for Talking Heads, there are about 9 albums. And one of my favorites is Little Creatures. Okay, so these are from 77 to 88. Okay, so Little Creatures came out in 1985. I got it on CD. And if you remember 85, this is when CDs came out.
Yeah.
And we're hearing pauses and quiet.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, no hissing.
No hissing.
Yeah.
Just pause.
No noise.
It's just beautiful. So that album comes out, and I just love it. I just love it. Little Creatures. They got hits.
Wait, when did the album come out?
85.
So you were before me with CDs then, because my first CD was U2, Joshua Tree, which was 87.
Oh, you know what? No, you're correct. I got it on vinyl.
Okay.
And then I loved it so much, I got it on CD like 2 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, in like 87, I got this.
Because with everything with new technology, I'm sure CD players, when they first came out, they were like, we couldn't afford them until a couple of years later.
Yeah. Anybody that knows Jim and I also knows that I'm always, my entire life, always behind him in technology. I have to mention this. Jim, first to get the beta VCR player before VHS was invented.
Yeah, the Betamax.
The Betamax. And then he got a VHS.
It was a top loader.
Yeah. So, I mean, I could go on and on. Just think about technology for the last 40 years, and Jim has got it before me. Let me get back to this. Great songs. Stay Up Late.
Oh, yeah.
About a babysitter and a baby. And I don't know where he's going with that. And their hit off there was And She Was. Yeah. Don't understand the song And She Was.
Yeah, she's floating.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about a person passing away.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
could be.
I was amazed. We have a friend, Keith. Who
Shout out to Keith.
Totally into... I was always amazed at some of the music. It was weird because he's still, I guess, really in the 50s. Like, we're all over the place, kind of. But back when we were, in our 20s, I don't think I was into Buddy Holly. I wasn't into, Bill Haley and the Comets. But then he would pull out one like the B-52s. He would be
right.
And I remember Keith was into the Talking Heads.
He was into this album with me. He loved it.
Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah.
Great for us.
The Village Voice in 1977 said, a debut LP will often seem over-refined with habitudes of a band's scene. And he goes on with the Talking Heads, and he says, quote, like Sparks, these are spoiled kids, but without the cowelness or adolescent misogyny. Like Yes, the band? Yeah. Like Yes, they are wimps, but without the vagueness or cheap romanticism. Anyway, mentioning, to review the Talking Heads, I thought it's interesting mentioning Sparks and mentioning Yes. Like, where does that come from?
Yeah.
So the Weymouth, France, and Harrison went on without David Byrne. The band never really disbanded. David Byrne just left and didn't tell anybody. He just doesn't show up. And so they're like, we haven't disbanded. He's not showing up. He's left the band. So they continued as the Shrunken Heads, and then as the Heads. And they had a number of vocalists. They had Gavin Friday of the Virgin Prunes. They had Debbie Harry of Blondie.
Is this when they did...
The Heads, when they were the Shrunken Heads.
Yeah, but this is when they performed live?
Yeah.
They didn't record anything with them.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't think they recorded.
But Andy Partridge from XTC, Gordon Gano from Violent Femmes, Michael Hutchence from INXS, and Maria McKee.
Love Maria. Lone Justice.
Yes. And so amazing stuff, amazing. And I didn't know without reading this that David just left. And he continued to do, as you know, many things solo with a lot of world beat. He would travel the world and explore different rhythms.
Most recently, I think it's a Broadway show.
Okay.
I don't know the name offhand.
Yeah. But
now I do follow Chris France. Yeah. He's on Facebook, and he has Tina Tuesdays. Always posting like old photos of Tina that maybe we haven't seen before. Yeah, still married, still in love.
That's great. After all these years, 1977.
Yeah, wrote a book a couple years ago, which I have not read yet. We're gonna open, believe it or not, another beer.
Yeah. Okay, I thought we'd wait But no, you don't have to. No, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You know. Okay, go for it.
This one is from Cross Keys Brewing Company.
Is that in Virginia? I know Cross Keys.
No, it's in Williamstown, New Jersey.
Oh, I'm sorry. That must have been Cross Keys Vineyard. Never mind. It's wine, not beer.
And this is just for Thanksgiving, right in time. We got cobbler.
Cobbler.
Not turkey.
Cobbler. Cobbler.
So this is a cobbler beer.
Okay. I really like the second one so far, the fried ice cream stout.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, and there's still more left of that, thank God.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Cross Keys Cobbler. And, yeah. All right, let's try this thing here.
I don't know. It doesn't taste like much of anything.
All right.
It's very light.
Okay, if you like it light, almost the taste of water from a different city, this is your beer.
I don't think they put it, maybe they forgot the cobbler. It tastes like a Yingling to me.
But without...
Just tastes like a lager.
Yeah. All right, so the winner then for the beers?
Well, this is a 5.1%.
The winner for the beers is definitely the fried ice cream stout by Flying Fish.
Yeah, Flying Fish Brewery. Can you read where that's from?
I'm reading a 10.3 on it.
Oh, what?
10.3.
Oh, that's why I'm laying on the floor with my microphone.
Hug that baby. Nice microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next, it's not really a band, it's a person.
Like Madonna?
And I believe most people have not heard of this person.
Like Madonna.
And his name is Mojo Nixon.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. So, yes, he's not for everyone. He's sometimes vile, raunchy, in your face, redneck rants set to hillbilly rock music. There you go. Some people call it rockabilly sometimes. But it's not. Sort of verging on rockabilly. You get the feeling that he's living in a trailer, maybe a van down by the river. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Maybe a trailer down by the river.
Yeah, trailer down by the river. Somewhat humorous, but definitely odd. Mm-hmm. Maybe not truly quirky, but he's someone to check out if you dare.
Yes.
So he's very opinionated, was always honest about what bothered him in his songs, and wasn't afraid to piss off people.
And he did. I think he did.
Yes, this is not from Wikipedia. I wrote this. He was the redneck rebel, Mike, of our generation. Mm-hmm. Now, I just realized the other day that if Lou Reed and Wolfman Jack, who ironically...
You could have said had a child, didn't you?
We've mentioned Wolfman Jack in the last pod. Had a child in a trailer park, it would be Mojo.
Yes.
Now, I personally liked him since I love Elvis. And he put out a song in 1987 called Elvis is Everywhere.
Yeah.
Mojo, like myself, kind of felt that Elvis did not die. I'm sure if he did live on past the reports of his death, I'm sure he's not alive anymore.
Do you remember in 1989 he was spotted in Blacksburg, Virginia?
Yes, it was in a newspaper, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A
reputable news source.
Yeah, Mike and I were staying in some seedy motel, and I think we stole someone's newspaper. Okay, we'll own up to that.
Yeah.
We didn't get people got the newspaper. Maybe they were staying in the motel.
I have no idea.
I opened the door in the morning and I saw someone next door had the newspaper and I went over and got it. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Maybe not.
For our listeners, a newspaper is a large printed paper where they put the news that they get off of their phones.
Yeah, it's probably about 18, 20 inches long, but they have to fold it in half. Usually the Sunday paper was a little larger. Okay, we won't get into it. And had coupons, yes, for people. Okay, we won't get into all that. Mojo believed, like I said, Elvis did not die, and we'll find out soon, too, when I get a little bit farther in this, that there's another Elvis song he wrote, believe it or not.
Wow. He's a lover and believer.
Yeah.
He's a lover and believer of Elvis.
I was more into his comedy songs than the raunchy ones. He covers anything from aliens to politics, even Jesus, and Elvis, of course. So let's find out about Mojo. He was born Neil and N-E-I-L-L, Neil Kirby McMillan Jr. So he obviously didn't like that name.
Neil McMillan Jr.
Yeah. I think Neil McMillan would have been a good name.
Just McMillan, like Madonna. Yeah.
He was born in 1957, and he's an American musician and actor. He's known for performing humorous, irrelevant music in the genre known...
Probably irreverent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Irreverent, irrelevant. I'm having a problem with that word. Psychobilly. There we go. Psychobilly. Which blends rockabilly with punk rock. And he has largely retired from playing live and recording, although he does host several radio shows on Sirius Satellite Radio, so maybe you've heard of him. He supported Kinky Friedman's candidacy for Texas governor.
Oh, that sounds familiar. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know when that was. So he was born in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He did have a cohort with his music called Skid Roper.
Right, I remember it was Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper. Yeah. That's how I remember it.
Yeah. Early 1980s in San Diego. Roper mostly provided instrumental backup to Nixon's lyrics. Nixon and Roper released their first album in 1985 on Enigma Records. Mojo Nixon and Skid Roper, I guess that's what it was called. There was a song called Jesus at McDonald's, which was their first single.
I wonder if, how does he envision that? He just decided to say, what if, What if Jesus came to McDonald's?
Yeah. He
it's probably
ran into Jesus at... Maybe he was at McDonald's and saw some guy that looked like Jesus. Their third album, 1987's Bodacious. That's the one I remember. I think I actually owned it. Probably the cassette. Had Elvis Is Everywhere. Probably his best known song. Nixon later declared his personal religious trinity was Elvis Presley, Foghorn Leghorn, and Otis Campbell.
You can't make that up. No, you can't make that up.
And I think Otis Campbell, I'm thinking it was the guy on Andy Griffith. Otis. The drunk guy.
Can you give me a good Foghorn Leghorn? Because I can't do that right now.
What was it saying? I do declare. No, that's Colonel Sanders. Sorry.
All right. Okay. We're working that for next one. Yeah.
So throughout the 1980s, Nixon and Roper produced several satirical pieces lampooning contemporary celebrities such as MTV VJ Martha Quinn.
Oh, yes.
You aren't drinking anything now, are you?
No.
In Stuffin' Martha's Muffin.
Yes, I remember that song. Stuffin' Martha's Muffin.
I guess it was about getting with Martha Quinn.
Oh, it's not about bakery? It's not about the bake?
Maybe it was about blueberry muffins.
She was sweet.
Rick Astley.
Oh, you got to mention Rick, don't you? You got to bring him up. Bring him into this.
And Debbie Gibson. Debbie Gibson is pregnant with my two-headed love child.
Oh, is that I thought you were just saying that. That's a song title?
This is actually a good song, believe it or not. It's got a great sax solo in it. Be sure to check out the video. Winona Ryder is Debbie Gibson in the video.
Gotta check that out.
And there's a line in the song, I'm stark raving naked in the fornication nation.
That sounds like something. That's something he would say.
That gives you a little idea of what you're in for. So he appeared in several promotional spots for MTV during this period. But the network's decision not to air the video for Debbie Gibson is Pregnant prompted him to sever ties with the network. And we suffered. We did. Not seeing those videos.
How did we suffer?
Mojo and Roper, Skid Roper, parted ways in 1989, so they didn't last too long. The following year, Nixon recorded a solo album on Enigma called Otis. Loves Otis. On this album, Nixon continued his assault on pop culture, as in the song Don Henley Must Die.
You can't get away with that now, can you? Like, what if you would say Bon John Jovi must die or something? Like,
yeah.
You can't get away with that now.
Now, this caused a fresh round of controversy.
Of course.
Even to the point of Nixon's record company begging radio stations not to play it. Can you imagine the record company? Do not play this.
Please. This is art. We paid for this. Please do not play.
But believe it or not, Mike.
Yes.
Don Henley himself was unfazed.
He naturally unfazed.
Well, this is what's incredible. On July 31st, 1992, at the Hole in the Wall in Austin, Texas, the former Eagle jumped on stage and performed the song with Mojo Nixon, causing Nixon to praise Henley as having balls as big as church bells. Yes, I quote. I didn't want to quote that, but I quoted it.
You can't make this stuff up. I mean, you just can't.
Eventually, Enigma Records unfortunately went bankrupt, which left most of his early catalog in legal limbo. He retired from the music business in 2004, playing his last live show on March 20th of that year at the Continental Club in Austin, Texas. But in 1989, go back a little bit again, recorded a follow-up to Elvis is Everywhere.
Okay.
It was 619239 King.
Is that the title of it?
Yes.
Like 8675309?
Yeah. Well, I said once you hear the song, you'll be singing along just like the Tommy Two-Tone song. 8675309 Jenny. He was responding to the then active rumors that Elvis Presley was still alive. He invited the singer to call and leave a message on what was at the time of release a legitimate phone number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So the title is a phone number.
Yes.
That's put out there so that Elvis can call in.
Yeah.
And report that he is indeed still alive. That is interesting.
And I don't know when he disconnected the phone number. So that same year, we're talking about 89, he appeared in Great Balls of Fire, the Jerry Lee Lewis movie. Rest in peace, Jerry Lee.
Yeah.
Married his cousin.
You gotta mention that. Yeah. It's you gotta talk about family,
So Mojo was in several films, including Super Mario Brothers. And then in the late 90s, he worked as a radio DJ in San Diego.
Oh, that would be cool.
And Cincinnati. Not at the same time, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. 2008, he started hosting on Sirius Radio. The Loon in the Afternoon on Outlaw Country, Channel 60.
Loony.
Yeah.
Lunar.
The Loon. And then the NASCAR-themed Mojo Nixon's Manifold Destiny.
Oh, I get it. Manifold. Yeah. Engine manifold.
On NASCAR Radio on Sirius XM. And the politically themed Lion Cocksucker.
Come on. Are you making this up?
No. On Raw Dog Comedy, Channel 99. And then I didn't know this because I had Sirius for a while, and they'd replay Howard Stern shows. Yeah. In 2005, he began appearing on the Howard 100 channel as the general manager.
Yeah.
So maybe he introduced the shows.
Yeah.
His first comeback was in 2006. Came out of retirement in support of Kinky Friedman. There we go, 2006, as the governor of Texas. As Nixon said at the time, if supporting Kinky for governor is what it takes to drag my ass out of retirement, consider my ass dragged.
Yeah.
There we go.
I got a question. Is it Kiki or is it Kinky? Is there an N in it?
It's Kinky, sorry. Kinky Friedman. Did I say Kiki?
No.
Kinky.
No, I'm asking. You said it correctly if it's Kinky.
Yeah, Kinky.
With an N in it.
Yeah.
How are you a politician and Kinky is in your name? That'd be like calling yourself like Wiener or something.
I've heard of him. I think maybe he's a comedian or something, or a writer.
I don't know.
Yeah. So in 2009, October, he announced his unretirement on his website with the release of his album Whiskey Rebellion, collection of previously unreleased tracks. He claims he had found in an old shoebox full of cassette tapes under his front porch. Let's see. And in 2013, Freedom Records and Films announced they were producing a documentary film, The Mojo Manifesto, to be released in 2014. And it was scheduled to have its world premiere at the 2020, so this is many years later, South by Southwest Festival.
Just 2 years ago.
So what I could find was it didn't officially come out until this year. Not sure where you can watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's on DVD, so it might be hard to find. As it should be, maybe. I don't know. And then, let's see. He had 6 albums with Skid Roper and 6 solo albums. So here's some songs to check out.
Yeah.
Of course, Elvis is Everywhere, which I mentioned a couple times. That's like my favorite. Give that a listen.
Yeah.
And here's a couple lyrics here. Elvis is in everybody out there. Everybody's got Elvis in them. Everybody except one person, that is. Yeah, one person.
Yeah.
The evil opposite of Elvis, the anti-Elvis.
The anti-Elvis, yes.
And Michael J. Fox has no Elvis in him. And Elvis is in Joan Rivers, so this is kind of dated, of course.
Yeah. No.
But he's trying to get out, man. Right?
Yes.
Now, these are some raunchy songs, so depending on your musical taste or your religious affiliations.
You could fast forward to my next piece. Yeah.
And these are self-explanatory, I think. Well, this one is.
Yeah.
Tie my pecker to my leg. Very raunchy song. Very hilarious, though.
Doesn't stick up.
I think it's about a man trying to control his urges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm in love with your girlfriend. Rockabilly kind of song. It is raunchy. It is hilarious, though. And some people will find it offensive. Okay. Jesus at McDonald's. This does get raunchy, believe it or not.
Yeah, you've said that.
And
they've been warned. They have been warned.
Jesus is mentioned at the very start of the song and at the end of the song.
He could be speaking simply about a man named Jesus. You know that. It's just Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it ends with Jesus taking Mojo, like into the
other world.
Yeah. Heaven, whatever you want to call it.
The other world.
And it's another song. Mojo had a kind of a slogan in a couple songs where he'd go, great moogly woogly. That's That's how the song ends.
Great moogly woogly.
Yeah. Great moogly woogly. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have another Jesus. Are you drinking with me, Jesus? Nice harmonica on this song. Like it. Yeah. I ain't gonna piss in no jar.
Yeah, that's self-explanatory.
Response to Nancy Reagan. This goes way back. Say no to drugs.
Dare.
Little dated.
Yeah. Dare to sing songs about drugs.
And then I'm living with a 3-foot Antichrist.
No, that is a children's song.
Yeah, it is. It's not what you think.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a guy who starts dating a girl who has a kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's about kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he moves in. It's a pretty good song, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Wow. Skid
there's
Roper.
A lot there, right?
You know, I wonder if Skid Roper is alive today. I wonder if Skid Roper continues to live on. And the stories he would tell, because he gets to, like, he's living it, he's viewing it, you know? Mm-hmm. And,
While you're talking, I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. Okay. In these bands that are going to make you laugh, the last one that we're looking at here is Cake. Now, if you're going to Google Cake, you must Google Cake Band or Cake the Band, because your Google search will just take you into so many recipes and so many bakeries. It's unbelievable. So I have in front of me some information on Cake the Band. So Cake, the driving force, the singer, the songwriter is John McCrea. There's trumpeter Vince DiFiore, guitarist Zan McCurdy, and bassist Daniel McCullum, and drummer Todd Roper. Now, this is just the current band. This is the current band as of this year. There have been so many changes, and I'm not going to go through all of that. You can look it up yourself, but just a lot of changes as John went from Sacramento to L.A. back again. He was tired of the folk scene there, tired of just the same old everything that was going on. The band Cake took their name not from the food, Jim. Not from the food.
What?
It's nothing to do with cake.
I love cake.
And this is why we do this podcast. We must learn. We must teach. Must be the teachers, Jim.
How many people out there love cake? Raise your hand.
Well, I do.
Everybody listens.
I do.
Okay.
But it's not about the food. It's meant to be, quote, like when something insidiously becomes a part of your life. Something like cakes onto your shoe.
Oh.
Yes, something that's caked on. And it's just sort of there until you decide to get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that's with you. You carry it with you until you decide to get rid of it. Cake. And I like that. I like that definition. It's pretty good. Their band has been described as McCrea's sarcastic lyrics and deadpan vocals. Okay, that's what you're going to hear. Wide-ranging musical influences, including country music. This is from them. I'm not making this stuff up. Mariachi, rock, funk, folk, and hip-hop. So they have several albums, and not going to go through all those. There's a certain theme you can see. You can identify a Cake album just by a glance because it's a certain artistic theme with a different color and a different title listed there. My favorite is Fashion Nugget, and this album is just so great. It's just amazing, and on it are some just awesome. I just love this one. Like some of the other albums have one or two hits on them, but this one has Daria. It has two covers, not just one. It has I Will Survive.
Yes.
Gloria Gaynor. Listen to it.
Oh, yeah, I know that song.
And said, I do not like it. I do not like it because of its profanity. He used the word fucking lock instead of stupid lock. I should have changed that stupid lock.
Oh, yeah.
The song is so hard driving. The song is so good. You can't despise it. I mean, you have to like it.
Gloria's just jealous because I think it's far better than the original.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to face facts.
Right. So, Jim, I found out just yesterday that the song I love on the album, perhaps, was written like 50 years ago. It's a lounge or jazz classic from around the world.
Okay.
And I love it. So it's really cool. She'll Come Back to Me is just a great song, and Italian Leather Sofa about a man and his girlfriend.
And her bosoms.
The way, on the Italian leather sofa.
Oh, yeah. Okay. If you're going to listen to Cake, if you've never heard them,
yes,
give that, because like I said, we want to give listeners
a wide range. Yes.
Well, you want to hear the first song you've ever heard from a band and get a feel. Mm-hmm. If you can get through that, and I'm not saying it's bad, it's great. But if you can then you're good. You're good to go.
Yeah.
They
were featured on 120 Minutes and featured, they've got lots of credits where their songs have been used.
Shout out to Matt Pinfield from New Jersey.
Nugget. The song Nugget.
Mm-hmm. That's another word I don't like.
Yeah, but you
moist, nugget.
The song Nugget on Fashion Nugget, it's a real hidden gem. It's a hidden nugget. Okay?
I don't know that.
I know, yeah. Anyway, it's a great song. You know, just you gotta listen to Nugget on a Friday at 5 after you've been working a whole week. That'll make sense to you later if you do it that way. You spoke of a man named Matt, is that right?
Matt Pinfield.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, listen.
Mike and I watched 120 Minutes.
No, I always liked that name. My parents almost named me that. This is the weirdest thing. But Matt Weitz of the Dallas Observer said, quote, that Cake is gimlet eye and sardonic humor. Mm-hmm. So I had to look both those words up. Gimlet is piercing. So it's a piercing eye, and sardonic is a grimly mocking or cynical.
Like sarcastic.
Humor. Yeah, it's grimly mocking and cynical humor.
Yeah.
So there we have someone else from The Advocate praised the album, one of their albums, as a sense of humor and delicious irreverence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, they have been described as untrendy and brazenly proud of it. So I think a lot of the bands that we talked about in this episode of No Good Music, they are untrendy and brazenly proud of it. And think of David Byrne. Like anything that would be a trend, David Byrne would not do it. He'd do the opposite. And why the big suit? And amazing stuff like that. Fashion Nugget is the first one that they produced by themselves. Another great song is The Distance. The Distance is one of them that I've heard out in just getting airplay. I've been out and heard The Distance playing, and it's so good. So yeah, you got to check out The Distance. Another one. It's written by Greg Brown, a band member, and who's not John McCrae. And The Distance entered the modern rock top 5, and later they had songs on Prolonging the Magic, and this is 1998, and songs like Never There, Let Me Go, and Sheep Go to Heaven. You've got to hear Sheep Go to Heaven. I mean, that's in the top 3. We listed 3 of them. Sheep Go to Heaven, Goats Go to Hell. And it's very descriptive, and it's great. It's great.
Some of my favorite, Stick Shifts and Safety Belts.
Yes, and that's been played on NPR for their car show, Car Talk.
And our listeners, you got to listen to Short Skirt, Long Jacket.
Yes.
That's such a good song.
It is a classic by them. Yeah. So, like I said, they have been played and had an influence in many different places. Short Skirt, Long Jacket was used for commercials, Rock Band 4. The song Frank Sinatra was on The Sopranos in 1999.
Okay.
Comfort Eagle, the song was played on Shallow Hal. Let's see what else we got.
With Jack Black.
That's right. And it's coming full circle now, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah. These are all connected.
Short Skirt, Long Jacket was on an episode of ER.
Okay.
Interestingly titled episode, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. That's pretty cool.
On ER?
Yeah.
I think they named
the episode for Chili Peppers album.
I think Grey's Anatomy does that.
Yeah.
They name it after songs for some reason.
Very interesting. So check out Cake. Cake is so fresh and so energetic, and one of the few bands to use the instrument, the percussive instrument, the vibroslap. And that is the one that goes...
Okay.
Yeah. I wish I had the vibroslap. I could not bring one in for you.
I think we have one here.
Let's see if there's a vibroslap. No, that's not it.
No, wait, I got it.
That's close.
Yeah,
yes, that is the closest thing to the vibroslap.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess that does it for bands that make you laugh. So it was great having Mike back in the studio.
Great to be here.
Mike has been doing interviews with me. Of course, Jeremy has been doing the regular podcast. And like we said, Jeremy is off on quite an adventure. Meeting people from The Walking Dead, Terrifier.
That would be real people from The Walking Dead. It wouldn't be like, he's not meeting actual zombies, I don't think.
No.
Oh, okay.
And we both love autograph shows. We've gone to them before. So Jeremy will be back with me for our Christmas podcast. And little preview, we're going to be talking about Nightmare Before Christmas, some Christmas gifts we've received in the past, and also the top 10 Christmas songs. So thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to email us, again, nogoodmusic, that's KNOW, Good Music Podcast, gmail.com. We'll give you a shout out like we did with, Gertrude. And
Howard.
Yeah.
He's a fine man, Howard. He is a fine man. Shout out to Howard.
And if you are in a band, you're a musician, singer, you've got EP, LP, album, same thing. In the last couple of years, you want to give it a listen and talk about it, feel free to send us links. Mm-hmm. And again, thank you. And
all right. And don't forget to turn off that TV.
And turn up that music.
Peace out.
You've been listening to No Good Music. Intro and exit music by the band 99%. Today's show was produced and edited by Jim Thatcher and recorded at the Did You Say 7 Studios in Washington, New Jersey. You can find No Good Music on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Pandora, and almost anywhere you listen to podcasts.
I'm Jim, he's Mike. No, I'm kidding.